whether it was here or somewhere else, but I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm just really excited about everything that's going on with this program and my family involved, and it's just really cool. And I know, growing up, my mom was always a rock. She was always just strong. There was never anything wrong with her. And then, as an adult, I learned of things that went on in her life that I was just like, wow. Thinking about it as an adult, I'm like, how did you even get through all that? And I think we're going to hear some of that tonight. So maybe. Just keep me out of it.
I'll try. I'm so glad I can sit. This makes it a lot easier for me. This is so totally out of my comfort zone. I said I wasn't going to cry, so I'm not going to. I suppose I can't move around. I'm going to start out with a favorite verse of mine. I have this posted in my kitchen. It reminds me daily of who my strength comes from. It's Philippians 4:13. I can do all things. It's short and sweet. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. It's right above my stove. I have a little shelf there, and I see it probably 25 times a day when I go in the kitchen. But it gets me through. I'm a grateful believer in recovery who struggles with, well, here we go, codependency, including people-pleasing and low self-esteem, pride, perfectionism, I was always a neat freak, anxiety, and depression. I'm a mess. I'm the oldest of 5 children, two who are no longer with us. I lost a sister. She had just graduated high school and was going to be leaving for the Army the next day. We had a baptism at our house. My oldest daughter was baptized. I was going to a Lutheran church at the time, so they baptized infants. She was the godmother to Jessica. We had a dinner and everything afterwards. Well, then she was going to go home to my parents' house and get her packing done. She never made it home. She was missing for 10 days before they found her. She had been stabbed to death. It's still hard to talk to. It was in 79. I also lost a brother who was 29 years old at the time. He had contracted meningitis. He was a paramedic. And one of the patients that they picked up had it and didn't know it. She was only like 6. I'm not sure. I'm sure she survived. I never heard she passed away. So, like I said, I'm the oldest of 5 children. I grew up in a fairly normal family. I kind of thought so. I thought all fathers were alcoholics at that time. It's kind of funny. We were not a close-knit family growing up. I don't ever remember being told I was loved. I just assumed it. My mother was strict, and she was the disciplinarian. We just did it as we were told to do. We all had our jobs around the house. And I think she always expected more of me because I was the oldest. My dad was an alcoholic. He was a laid-back and gentle person except when he was drinking. He would get verbally and physically abusive when my mom wasn't around, especially to my younger brother. I still feel guilty that I didn't tell my mom this was happening. I would just go to my room and turn on my music. As a young child, probably until about 7 or 8 in there, I don't remember going to church. It wasn't until we moved from the country to a small town up by Tower. It's called Sedan. I'm sure some people know where that is. We started attending church and Sunday school. I don't remember my dad ever going to church. Mom went to church and us kids went to Sunday school. When I was in the 7th or 8th grade, I don't remember exactly when, an evangelist, and I don't remember who, came to our school, but he held a few evening meetings. I did go up for an altar call during one of the meetings. He prayed for all of us, and it felt good. I would pray to Jesus, but I never developed a personal relationship. I knew of him, but I didn't know him. But I always had that desire to be a good girl until high school. So here we go, in my high school years. In my high school years, I tested the waters just a little. I went to a few drinking parties to fit in. I do remember one night a girlfriend and I decided to walk home from one of the parties. I think it was up at Jasper Peak. I don't remember. It's been so many years. Being not too steady on my feet, I fell into a muddy ditch. I was wearing white jeans. When I got home, my mother was waiting for me. It was past curfew. She was waiting for me in the kitchen, which I kind of figured that was going to happen. She asked me where I was. I don't remember what I told her, but I'm sure it was a lie. I stumbled up to my room and went to bed. And everything was just kind of swirling around. You know how that is? And I had to work the next day. I was a waitress at a small Marjo, it was called the Marjo Cafe and Tower, and I was a waitress at that time. My shift started at 6 o'clock, and I went to work with the worst hangover ever. Smell of food and just being around the food with nausea and a headache was horrible. My mom drove me to work that day. I think she figured out that I probably was punished enough having to go to work that way because I didn't get grounded, which that was a normal punishment. At age 16, I met Paul, who is now my husband. His family moved across the street from us. We dated close to 3 years, married in 1976, and we're celebrated our 47 years this year. With our ups and downs. We have 5 children, 17 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. I felt fortunate that I did not have to go to work. I could be a stay-at-home mom. I did do some daycare in the home. We had 5 kids, so what's a couple more? I think it was Josh started school in he was our youngest. He's not here tonight. He went to kindergarten, and then I went to work part-time. I just felt like I needed to do something else besides stay at home I was tired of being a stay-at-home mom. Let's put it that way. I started out working just a couple hours in the lunch program at the school. It was during the school hours, but I didn't stay there very long. It was just boring. I worked a couple other part-time jobs and ended up with a couple of full-time jobs, including McDonald's. I was there for 6 years, and Range Center, I was there for 17 years. I really did enjoy that Range Center job the most. I was house supervisor, and when I started supervising the house, the boys that lived there, they were like 10 and 12. So I raised them, so that was pretty cool. Paul retired in 2014. A few months later, I was not enjoying my job as much as I was before and was seriously thinking of retirement. It just didn't seem fair that I had to go to work. So I retired in September 2015, so just a little over a year and a half after he did. I was excited to be retiring, but I was also a little nervous because I get bored easily. So I was thinking, would I be bored? Well, that's when Jessica came to me and said, Mom, if I go back to work, will you babysit? And she has 4 kids. So I wouldn't be bored. So I started babysitting 2 or 3 days a week for her. And she got to go back to work. But over the time, retirement did get hard. I went from being super busy to very slow paced. I mean, kids, I babysat, but they went to school during the day, some of them. I still had a couple at home. I soon just started questioning if I had made the right decision. Well, then I did add some volunteer work to my schedule, so that helped fill another day or 2 in the week. Later in 2016, my mother's health started to decline. She was starting to develop some dementia, and she wasn't very old. She was only like 77 at the time. And then she started falling. And she lived over in Babbitt, so on the days I could go over there, I would go spend some time with her. We had grown a lot closer over the years. One of the last times that she fell was she was in a nursing home, I think in Eveleth. My mind just runs together. Was it Eveleth? Okay. My mind just runs together and all that stuff. But she had fallen and hit her head on the floor, and you know those floors are hard. So she ended up with bleeding on the brain, and they had rushed her to Duluth. So my sister and I went down to Duluth that day, and Mom was still coherent enough, and she did not want surgery. So we honored her wishes. Just a minute, I'll be fine. She ended up in hospice, where Jessica works, where she passed in September 2017. I don't know, something about losing a mom is so hard. Felt so lost. This is when I was really starting to feel depressed and useless. I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to be left alone. I feel the babysitting helped me keep my sanity. So now I just got to take a break for a minute. Before I go on, I need to interject something here too. I have to blow my nose. So when Dan asked me, it's been about 2.5 weeks ago, he asked me if I'd be ready to do a testimony in 2.5 weeks. And my first response was, I could, I guess. But then I got excited, but then the fear started to creep in, and then the anxiety started to creep in, and I didn't know how to write a testimony. I've never done it, and Paul just says, well, take what's in your inventory. Well, okay, easy enough, I thought. Well, then I went to bed that night, and then I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was just tossing and turning, and finally I just started to pray. And I just asked God, what part of my inventory should I share? And almost immediately, he just laid something on me that I had totally forgotten about. The exact words that came to my mind were, talk about the period in your life when you were so depressed you contemplated taking your own life. Okay. And I know that was God talking to me because I had totally, this was not even part of my inventory. I had forgotten about it. And I just buried it so deep. And my first reaction to that was, how can I talk about this? How is it going to affect my family? I had not told anybody about it. And we had just gone through something like this a couple of years ago in our family. And I was really afraid it was going to be hard. So, but after a lot of questioning God, a peace came over me. And I said, okay, someone must need to hear this. God said, it's for your healing. Okay, thanks. I'm going to just interject this Bible verse here. I took it out of the Amplified, because what I go into next will tell you why. The thief comes only in order that he may steal and may kill and may destroy. I came that I may have and enjoy. I can't even read, sorry. I came that they may have and enjoy life and have it in abundance to the full, till it overflows. And that's from the Amplified version. This was probably my most lowest point between 2018 and 2019. Everything just seemed to be falling apart. I was sinking deeper and deeper into depression. I hated life. I hated living in Kitsville. I wanted to move away from people. I wanted to just be left alone. I could hide my depression around people. You just smile and say, all is good. Suicidal thoughts started occupying my mind during my wake hours. I even started thinking of different ways to do it. I would try and rebuke those thoughts as I knew they were from the enemy. And I knew it would be wrong to do this to my family. How could I hurt them that way? I did consider counseling, but soon rejected it. And that's my pride at play there. What would they think of me? I did write all my thoughts and feelings down and why I felt this way, but I hid it so no one could find it. A few months later, I came across the paper and ripped it up. I thought, what if I suddenly died? I wouldn't want my kids to find it. Over the years, the feelings of emptiness and worthlessness still plagued my mind. There has to be so much more to life than babysitting and getting kids off to school. So I think it was October 30th. Dan was going to be preaching out here at the church. We came out here, and what I got out of your message, Dan, that day, it's time for people to figure out what their purpose in life is. We are all here for a reason, and we all have a purpose. And that's exactly what I went to a conference this last weekend, and the theme was pursuit. And exactly what you said. We all have a purpose. We all need to figure out what it is, and we all need to do it. So that same night, I was again woke up. After tossing around a bit, I started praying and asking God, what is my purpose? I know you have a purpose for my life. Almost immediately, he said, you need to go to CR. And I'm thinking, no. But I didn't question God, because if anybody was here for my mini testimony, CR wasn't for me. So and I did not question him on this. I just said, okay, I will go to the next meeting, which happened to be out here on November 1st. So I've been coming for almost a year. And that was a big step for me to go anywhere by myself. As I was driving out here, I had an excitement and a peace about it. I walked through the door. Here you go, Trish. The first person I saw was Trish. What are you doing here? I'm like, what a welcome. I said, God told me to come. And I shared that night in the small group, which I thought I would never do that. But I felt like it was such a comfortable feeling to be out here. And to share with the ladies I didn't even know. I knew hardly anybody out here. But it felt so peaceful and just so trusting, I guess is the word I want to use. And trust was always a big issue with me because nobody can keep things confidential, especially women. That was my thinking. But I realized the women in our small group are genuine, are so loving, and not judgmental. And I appreciate that. So then there was going to be a step study starting the end of November, so I signed up for that. And I realized I had many issues to work on. I realized the step study really digs down deep inside, and you realize why you do the stupid things you do sometimes. And with my codependency issues, which I didn't realize I didn't know what codependency even was. And I still really don't know, but I think I have a better idea. And I've learned to set boundaries and expectations. I'm more able to express myself and to do for me without feeling guilty. I still have many things to work on, and I will continue to work through them by following the steps. As you know, I was a mess. All those things I listed in the beginning, I still got to work on those. But I was excited to go to the CR retreat this summer. Unlike in other years, I usually avoided it. I was baptized at the retreat. Actually, Paul and I got baptized together. I now have a personal relationship with Jesus. I go to him with everything, big and small. I mean, small things. Where did I leave my keys? Where did, just the little things. And they pop up. They come. I find them. And the Holy Spirit dwells in me. I have never felt so free in all my life. I would encourage anyone that's on the fence about joining a Celebrate Recovery group to really consider it. It is life-changing. The step studies are actually the nitty-gritty of the, what would you say, like the nitty-gritty of CR? And you form so many good relationships. The step studies are usually a smaller group, maybe 6, 7 people. You really you bond with your group, and it's, I don't know. I just developed a trust that I didn't even know could exist. You can talk about anything. And the song that we sang tonight, oh crap, I forgot what it was. I thank God, yeah. Hell lost another one. I am free, I am free. So no, the enemy did not get me. God has me. Thank you.